What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome in to another episode of the Triple Play Fantasy Baseball Show, a proud member of Underdog and the Underdog Fantasy family. Reminder, if you use code TRIPLE at checkout, if you're a first-time depositor, they will deposit you and give you a deposit match up to $100. If you use code TRIPLE, use that code, and again, they will match you up to $100. And basically doubling your first deposit over at Underdog Fantasy. We are back for week 11 already of the fantasy baseball season. We got Doc at Trip Play Fantasy. We got Marty Party at Marty_Tallman. And we got Lil Cheesecake at Art TPF, all with you here tonight. Fellas, how's it going? We have environmental things going on. We've got Elly De La Cruz in the big leagues. There's so many things going on right now in the world, both in baseball and out of baseball. How are you fellas holding up? Starting with you, Doc.
Doing pretty well. David, I put this in the group earlier. The guy that caught Elly De La Cruz's first home run gave it back for basically signed memorabilia for him and his boys. What would have been your calling card for giving that back?
It's a good question. Like, I feel like you have to definitely ask for money you need. I don't know if you'd be able to get $1 million from them, but to ask for like $500K, I feel like as Art shakes his head. I feel like if you ask for like $500K and maybe a couple of signed baseballs and like autographs and stuff and a picture, I feel like that's not outrageous to ask for what could be one of the best players in baseball, their first career home run ball. It's not like he's a no-name rookie. This is one of the most hyped prospects in a long time. So I feel like you could ask for something like that.
I read somewhere that some stadiums won't let you leave until you at least talk to team personnel, which is kind of wild.
How many people with $500K to drop on a baseball are going to drop it on Elly De La Cruz and not like hope for a Mickey Mantle one? I think you have to hold on to Elly De La Cruz's first home run for it to gain value rather than selling it right now. $500K is a lot of cheddar.
You don't think the Reds would pay that?
No.
Would you take 50,000 right then and there?
50K, I think you're probably closer to what an actual payment would be for it.
50K, I would take that and run. But I wonder, I heard that once you leave the stadium, it's not like a verified ball. So don't you it needs to be authenticated before you leave to be able to sell it on the open market?
No.
How would they know though that it's the real, you know what I mean? Like once you leave that.
That's true.
I think there's like a serial number on the ball or something.
Maybe. I think 50,000 would be fine. I would sit on it. I would be that guy that everyone would hate. Like
I would
for my family.
I would want to get it back to Elly. I would be like, give me the signed materials, give me game tickets.
Oh, so you would be like that, dude?
I would be,
You'd
absolutely.
Be the nice guy. Yeah.
I would be.
Nah, I'd be greedy as hell. Like, give me, what's your best offer? All right, I want 50K on top of that. Yeah, but anyway, props to that dude that caught it. Props to Elly De La Cruz, who we'll talk about tonight, along with many other players as we get to the TPF rundown. Before we do that, Toby's in a chat. Our guy Toby, Z2 Fantasy. Have a day, Jose Ramirez. I saw he had 2 home runs. Did he hit another one? He has 3. Oh my God, Jose Ramirez, you dog! It is I was this close to betting 3 home runs for him too. This close, not really, but yeah, Jose Ramirez have a day, and then the Reds won't even pay $500K for a free agent, much less a ball. That is actually true. Yeah, Toby, you're 100% right. I'll take the 100K, and a picture with Elly De La Cruz, and we'll call it even. On that note, let's go ahead and let's get started with the TPF rundown, starting with our WOW players of the week. We already spoke of the man, the myth, the legend that is becoming Elly De La Cruz. I brought up the nickname on the call up that you'll see coming out tomorrow morning. I brought the nickname Elly Belly, like Jelly Belly, and his swing is sweet like a Jelly Belly. Is that a name that will catch on?
No.
I just think of like if he looked like Max Muncy, then yeah, I think that'd be perfect. But he's too lean, you know.
I don't know.
I was thinking more along the lines of Elly, you know, like Umbrella Rihanna.
Yeah.
You know, turn it into something like that. That's where my head was on it as far as a nickname.
I could see that. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of fun nicknames with his name. I feel like you can do a lot with it. But yeah, let's talk about Elly De La Cruz, who this graphic was made this morning before his third game. But over his first 2 games, 429, 556, 1842 slash line. He hit a home run yesterday, stole a base today, hit a ball over 114 miles an hour already. And this is coming from when he was in AAA, he had 12 homers and 11 steals over 38 games. It's already been said, this is the kid that from home to third base running had the fastest time clocked this season. This is a kid that hit the ball the hardest of any major league player this season in AAA, hit 116 miles an hour. This is the kid that has the 30-30 type of upside that very few players in today's Major League Baseball can do. The question is Elly De La Cruz cannot be stopped. The question is, what is his ceiling at this point, and how much do you like him this year so much in redraft? I forgot who is taking Elly tonight as I pull up.
It is me.
Go ahead, Marty. Give us
Marty Party.
more love about Elly De La Cruz.
And I know all of you guys are wondering, like, does Marty have him in the infamous 10-team league?
Yes.
He most certainly does.
Yeah.
I picked him up a few weeks ago when he posted on his Instagram that he was coming up. So I got the quick scoop on him, played him every day since. I don't have to go into how amazing he is offensively. If you put on anything baseball, he's all over it. I love his defense. I love the fact that he's be able to slide in at third. He has an incredible arm. They're going to play him at short when they can, so you don't have to worry about anything defensively. Great ballpark, amazing skills. I'm very interested to see what he goes for Fab this weekend. I think everyone's going to empty out their bank accounts. I don't think I have enough money, even though I have 300 something bucks left. I would spend it all, but I don't even think it will get me him. He's incredible.
He's so good. How come this is the week for Fab? Like, why aren't we more proactive than reactive?
Well, we can't pick him up until he plays.
Yes. In NFBC, you can't until he officially plays a major league game.
Like when you search him in the database, you can't pick him up. Mm-hmm. He's not there. That's the reason why.
How's about this for table setting? In my Earth League, the Darf League chat, someone drops, so what do you guys think Elly's going to go for this weekend? And I'm like, oh, no, you didn't. Just put that in the league chat. That's bold, right?
Just testing the waters.
Just putting it out there. And I'm like, oh God, that's going to drive up the prices, and that's going to drive it up. I just know it. You put it out there. You're driving up the prices. What are you doing to me now?
He's probably, I can't imagine a player going for more rest of season than him. No, like I know there might be an Ed Sheehan of the Dodgers. I think will get a lot of fab thrown on him when he eventually does get called up. But I think Kyle Manzardo will get some too. But I think Elly's going to go for what's going to be the highest fab bid on Elly De La Cruz out of $1,000. I think he's going to go for 600 something.
430.
Yeah, I got to think funds are depleted right now.
There's the person that has like $800 something left that's going to spend 3/4 of their fab on him.
Oh God, I couldn't even. I think 400 to 500 will be the top end.
Let's play a game. Who can go the closest without going over of the highest fab bid we see for Elly De La Cruz?
Now, when we say highest, we're talking about all of it. Anything you see on Twitter.
Whether anything it's the you main see event, on Twitter.
Whether it's Glarf, whether it's okay.
Yep.
$780.
Wow.
I didn't think it was going to get that high.
Without going over.
Without
going over. Oh.
Yeah.
Hold on. Come back to me, Art. You
yeah. I'm going to go with 419.
I'm going to go 543.
Wow.
I'm going to go 681.
Whoa.
682.
Oh, there you go. You Price is Righted you.
That's why you wanted to go last.
That's why I went last. I grew up on that, baby.
$1. $1.
Oh man. Yeah, he's gonna go for a lot.
And watch it be 683.
I'm not gonna have him anywhere. I don't have enough money in my fab leagues to get him what he'll end up costing. And in our home league, I believe even our home league, he was picked up a few weeks ago and stashed. Because I remember when I saw it and I was like, dang, they're really jumping a few weeks early to get him. So yeah, Elly De La Cruz definitely going to be a stud down the road here. Let's not forget also somebody that shares a similar last name in Bryan De La Cruz, who over his last 7 games, 320, 367, 520 slash, 1 homer, 10 RBIs, 4 runs. He's hit safely in 5 of his last 6 games, going 333 over that time with a 908 OPS. Bryan De La Cruz has been steadily very good under the radar here. I actually remember looking at him in a couple leagues and pulling the trigger in a few of those. Bryan De La Cruz, is he just someone you're picking up to ride the wave, or is he someone you think is rosterable rest of season?
I think he's rosterable. You look at even before 2023, he was an above average hitter, and with outfield being what it is, he's not an exceptional hitter. But if you're in a 12-team league, he's among the top 60 outfielders for sure. I think you can expect him over the course of a full season to have an above average batting average, because he's shown that, with about 20 to 25 home runs and maybe 5 to 10 stolen bases. I think Miami is finally giving him the playing time that I had been hoping they would give him for a while. I've been a believer in Bryan De La Cruz for a few seasons now. And it's finally coming out. Now he could go back down. He's sitting 299 right now. So if that could drop, and he'd still be very effective.
Yeah. And again, someone the Marlins need hitting, and he's doing that right now. So, and I believe he's almost out of options, if I'm not mistaken, too. I don't think they can send him back to AAA. That's one of the factors that plays into this as well. Bryan De La Cruz, definitely somebody I would look at. 12-team leagues, 15-team leagues, but I think he's viable in both of those places going forward. A couple things in the chat, catch up real quick. Albert checking in. What's going on, Albert? Always fun having you part of the stream. Toby says Ronald Acuna ceiling for Elly De La Cruz. Fernando Tatis, I've also heard too, people comparing that type of upside too. And then this guy is slightly better than Logan Thomas. Is he talking about Elly De La Cruz, Forrest? I know Logan Thomas is football, but I'm trying to get the comparison. Center field is a difficult position to get. Huh?
Lane Thomas, maybe?
Maybe. That could be what he was hoping the Yankees fans talk about it, because I like it for New York. I'm a little confused on that one, but Forrest always he's talking about Lane Thomas. Yeah. I think he's better than Lane Thomas.
Of course.
Yeah, for sure. So Toby must have seen the show sheet ahead of time, because he said De La Cruz or Joey Wiemer. Wiemer. Guess who we're talking about next? Joey Wiemer. Over his last 7 games of 478, 571, 1043 slash line, 3 homers, 9 RBIs, 6 stolen bases over that time, 5 walks. He's hitting 481, 563, 1000 with 3 homers and 9 RBIs, and during his current 8-game hitting streak. And he had 11 total bases yesterday against Baltimore. That is a Milwaukee Brewers franchise record in a game. Joey Wiemer, Doc, flash in the pan or go get him, man?
Well, you know what? I'm going to quote Mr. Marty Tallman. I took him in the 49th round of the triple players ball. What a great pick. Shout out, Marty. I like what I've seen from Joey Wiemer, especially in a roto league. Last year, between AA and AAA, he had 21 homers and 31 stolen bases. Now, the downside is he is going to strike out a lot. He's at a 26% rate this year, floated in the 20s last year at minor league ball. So that is something that in a points league he'll ding you for. But you love the metrics too. 92nd percentile in sprint speed, max EV, the 79th percentile. And I said this before the season, which is one of the reasons I liked him. I didn't think that there was anybody besides Christian Yelich who has been injured and ill for periods of time that was going to hold him off. Jesse Winker was kind of an experiment. Sal Frelick is a rookie himself. And I really like the power speed combo that Joey Wiemer has. So I'm really glad that it's paying off, and probably the best 49th round pick you can have. Something about the 49.
Yeah, you humble brag that, Doc. You go ahead. Yeah, Joey Wiemer, definitely somebody I'd be interested in just to pick up in a 15-team league. I don't really think he's rosterable. Maybe you pick him up, obviously, while he's hot, but I don't anticipate, not as much as Bryan De La Cruz. I think Bryan De La Cruz is definitely the best hitter. taking Elly out of the discussion, of course. I'd rather pick up Bryan De La Cruz than Joey Wiemer at this point going forward. But let's talk about some pitching. Let's talk about Andrew Abbott of those same Cincinnati Reds. In his first start of the season, 6 innings, 1 hit, 4 walks, and 6 strikeouts. He did face a Brewers lineup that's last in the league against left-handed pitching in OPS and had only 10 swing and misses in 105 pitches in that start. So very underwhelming, especially against the top or the worst left-handed pitching lineup in baseball with those Brewers here. So Marty, talking about Andrew Abbott, is he somebody that you view as what was I going to say? Did you have Andrew Abbott? Yes, you did.
I got him.
Yes,
yeah,
you did. Okay, I was right.
In the really quick with him, 15-team leagues, yes. Put a good amount of fab on him, try to get him, see if it's worth it. I love that he pitched 105 pitches. We worry about rookies if they're going to let them go. Clearly, the Reds do not care. They're going to fire him up. Nothing stands out for him, just like skills-wise. So for 10 and 12-team leagues, I'm not like very, gung-ho. But for 15-team leagues, yeah, fire him up.
I agree with you. I think 15-team leagues is deep enough to do it. But had a good strikeout rate in the minor leagues, 30%. But he doesn't throw fast. He doesn't throw hard. He relies a little bit more on deception. And that's where you kind of wonder, that doesn't always translate well. You have the Nestor Cortezes of the world, but then you also have the
Kyle Hendricks this year.
No. I have a perfect comparison for Oakland. His name just dropped. Oh, Ken Waldichuk,
yeah.
Who also doesn't throw hard and relies on deception. And he's getting obliterated. And it's out of the rotation already.
Plus, he's home ballpark.
Yeah,
it's a tough look.
Exactly. So Andrew Abbott, I think if you can sell his name and his first start right away, I would definitely try to shoot for the moon and see what you can get. I don't think he's going to be somebody that you're going to be having on your team all season. I think he's going to, for this year, I think he's going to end up being mostly a streamer in 10 or 12 team leagues. So that's
look at that picture too. He's got a little bit of fat around that mid.
Of course, you're going to talk about somebody's weight, Doc. Like it has an impact with somebody's pitching. CC Sabathia,
Alek Manoah. Are we going to say that hasn't impacted it this year?
Well, what has CC Sabathia had done if they had a pitch clock?
I don't know. I mean, CC's a workhorse, man.
CC would have lost weight, man. I think CC would have lost weight. I do.
Do we think that's part of the reason why Lance Lynn is struggling this year?
Absolutely.
Can't rule it out.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, and he's older too. On top of it,
yeah. Come on, Lance Lynn is.
What about David Wells? Would David Wells have been as good?
Shout out David Wells, perfect game. But yeah, dude, that guy was fatter than my dad.
I mean,
Marcell would have done well though.
You got to think about how these guys would take these huge breaths, gear up for each pitch. You got a minute in between each pitches. You can really rest yourself and get your breath back for one effort. If you have 15 seconds, 20 seconds, that's nothing. I think some of these people who aren't in as good a physical shape, I think that's a big contributor. I'm not going to say it is for each one of them, but for Lynn and Manoah, I can't rule it out.
Last thing on Manoah, I saw something on Twitter today. I wish I could remember the handle because I would shout him out. He did a good job, but he had a side-by-side video where now Manoah throws 5 pitches this year, where last year he only would have gotten in 2.
Oh, it's I think like John Barry or something.
Maybe, yeah. I can't even recall, but yeah, it was a really good breakdown.
I saw that video.
Yeah, man, it's a different ball game, literally. So I like how the Blue Jays try to put a spin on it. They're like, he gets to hang out with Ryu. Ryu really helped him in his rookie year.
Yeah,
they showed them next to each other at the complex. I'm like, that's not a good look, dude.
That was beyond a demotion. They sent him to freaking rookie ball. I don't remember seeing anything like that.
Well, what's at the complex is all of the science behind it, where they can tape him, they can put all the things on him, the pressure on the ball, everything, and just kind of see what's going on and start from scratch. So we'll see.
Alek Manoah.
Is he fixable or Ricky Romero vibes?
Let's get him a dietitian, see what happens.
I just don't think he took it seriously. I think sometimes you rely too much on your natural talent and you don't work. You see people going to driveline baseball. You see people getting in really good shape. You see people working and tweaking, certain things, whether it's adding, pitches or, changing the usage of pitches, or guys, sometimes looking to fall more towards the first base side, third base side. Like there's all these different things people play with. I never heard anything like that from him.
No, he came out swinging. I mean, he was excellent. He was so good that it, like,
he went to West Virginia. What do you expect? He's a partier.
Doc always gives the best information. Yeah, he's used to drinking and just throwing. I mean, get away.
Have you ever been to Morgantown?
Shout out Spencer Ramsey. I'm sure doesn't watch this podcast. Let's talk about AJ Smith-Shawver of the Atlanta Braves coming up pretty much out of nowhere. I think he was in a high A ball, got a taste in Double A, and they already brought him up to the big leagues and only pitched in one game so far, 2 1/3 innings, no hits, no runs, a walk and 3 strikeouts in that game. Pretty much just to put an emphasis on it, he's basically pitched 35 innings. And most of them have been the 33 that he's pitched across 3 minor league stops over this season. Obviously, the 2 1/3 innings with only 2 swinging strikes in his first start here first game for the Braves. He's expected to actually get a start, I believe, tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken here, LC. AJ Smith-Shawver, I've seen people actually really high on him. Mm-hmm. I don't think I would spend a lot of fab, but I am intrigued. What are your thoughts?
I mean, my thoughts are, one, I really want to see that start before. I think it's tomorrow or Saturday. I'm not sure. It's against the Nationals, a team that doesn't strike out a lot. I want to see how his strikeouts go in that. Yeah, like you said, he doesn't have a huge track record. He's been at 3 levels already this year, but people can't help but throw out, these fantastic comparisons with him. Is he this year's Strider? Is he this year's this or that? Let's see how he does against the Nationals. I think, he has 4 pitches, throws the 4-seam most of the time, slider, curve. He didn't throw the changeup in his first time up, but the changeup is his 4th offering. Faced a lot of lefties in his first time up. 6 out of the 8 batters he faced were lefties. Still got 3 Ks in 2 1/3 innings and only gave up the 1 walk. That was the only base runner he had. So definitely came up and looked ready to face major league hitting. I want to see how he does in his first start. The projections on him are pretty modest. 23 to 25% K percentage for the rest of the season, with about a 4.5 ERA. I don't know. The projections from here on out, he could beat those, but they're, right now he's kind of an unknown quantity to me. What do you guys think?
I'm with you. I think I need to see his first start. I'm definitely not too high on him, but I liked him better kind of in the role of coming in for 2 or 3 innings. I felt like that could have been more useful. Obviously, also, it's easier to pitch when they're only seeing you once. But making that type of leap, the Braves did it with Michael Harris last year. It worked out really well. And I believe they're one of the more aggressive teams with their prospects. And if they see somebody they think deserves it, I definitely am taking notice. I just don't think, luckily he gets his start before Fab runs, but I haven't picked him up in any leagues where I can just use the waiver wire.
They're also decimated by injuries with pitching.
Yeah, they are. But it's interesting. We'll have to keep an eye on how he does after his first start, and we'll touch base on that then. Doc, you're a Tommy Henry guy. You claimed that you're the Tommy Henry guy. So this fits right in your wheelhouse talking about him. On the season, just over 45 innings, a 4.37 ERA and 27 strikeouts. Had a 2.87 ERA in May before he kind of blew up a little bit in his first June start 2 days ago. But he did have 7 scoreless innings and 7 strikeouts to start before that against Colorado. The Arizona Diamondbacks are in first place in the NL West, believe it or not, ahead of the Dodgers, the Padres, the Giants. It's actually pretty crazy. Tommy Henry, Doc, you are the Tommy Henry whisperer. Is he somebody that we should actually be taking seriously?
You know what? He had a rough start against the Nationals, and if he had a second rough start, he got his second one pushed back to Monday. I was going to concede to Marty. So I would have admitted I was wrong, but with only one start, that gets canceled. Tommy Henry, I like him. David, as you mentioned, the Diamondbacks are first place in the NL West, and the expected metrics match the actual ERA, 4.27, xERA to 4.37. He doesn't have a lot of swing and miss. The 7 strikeouts was a season high for him. but he's averaging 5.3 per 9. And his fastball is very below average, tops out about 91 miles per hour, and has a 328 batting average against. But what makes him really good is his second, third, and fourth pitches, change, curve, and slider, a 189, a 163, and a 190 batting average against. If he could rely a little less on the fastball, which he throws about 51% of the time, I think he'd get more swings and misses, but I think that is partially what sets up his other the other pitches in his arsenal. I'm keeping him. The Diamondbacks, I don't think are going to change. I think they like him having being better than Dre Jameson and Ryan Nelson in the rotation, but I'm tempering my expectations a little bit.
Do you have him in our home league, Doc?
I don't.
You're a fraud then.
I mean, who could I drop? I just have so many studs.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll draw him for Bryce Miller, who's gotten me -36 since.
Oh, you're foreshadowing a later segment, Doc. So just hold on to that. Let's talk about most added across fantasy leagues over the last week. And your guy, Tommy Henry, Doc, as of when I wrote this up, or when I wrote this down yesterday afternoon, he did lead the list at added in 47% of leagues. Andrew Abbott, AJ Smith-Shawver, Elly De La Cruz. Elly De La Cruz would be number one if he wasn't already so highly rostered going into the week. So that's why he's not number one at this point. He's already 89% rostered. Braxton Garrett, Spencer Steer, Bryan De La Cruz, and Willie Castro are in the most added. Now, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Has there ever been a pitcher that the week before was the most added player, and then the very next week was the most dropped player in Mike Soroka? Because he was in the other section, number one last week. Mike Soroka was.
Ask Art. Art and I had a nice little discussion off air earlier this week
About Mike Soroka?
Yeah, Art was saying, he's like, I can't believe I missed that you said that he doesn't think he has value, and we're going back and forth. And like 12 hours later, he gets optioned.
He gets dropped. Yeah, he gets optioned. Like 12 hours later, I'm like, yeah, man, you got to give him a chance. You got to give him a chance. And then like 12 hours, I couldn't even wake up the next day without him being in the minor leagues.
And the best part is Art texted me. He's like, I'm surprised you didn't rub it in as much. I was like, oh, I didn't know until you said, but I'm going to bring it up on the show now.
Oh, yeah. Mike Soroka, love the story. Just he ain't ready right now. Dropped in 22% of leagues. Jacob deGrom, unfortunately, out for the year. You can drop him in any redraft leagues. Chris Morel, did some darlings on this list, man. Chris Morel, Brent Rooker, Graham Ashcraft, Bryce Miller, Jarren Duran, all guys we've talked about so highly over the last few weeks, just kick to the curb. That's fantasy baseball in a nutshell. It's such a weekly thing you got to burn and churn. And just when you think some of these guys are someone you can hold on rest of season, I thought Jarren Duran was someone you're going to have on your team rest of the year. That was someone on that list that really, same with Brent Rooker too. Like Brent Rooker, I thought would at least give you enough power, even if he wasn't hitting as consistently. Just guys are just burning out, and you drop them from your team. And that's that list there. And then lastly, going to the team schedules. Next week, the Yankees, the Brewers, and the New York Mets play 5 games. Everybody else plays 6 or 7. So if you can see the graphic, you can see what the schedule looks like. But if you're on the podcast version, Yankees, Brewers, and Mets play 5. All right, LC, it is time to bring out your dead. And I did see it looked like there were a lot of people that were hurting this past week in fantasy baseball.
A lot of people hurting in fantasy baseball. That's why the Triple Play Fantasy Boys, most me, but I got to get these other guys muscle sometimes to help drag the cart to the death pits at the end of the segments. The cart's hard to push with all the bodies we've been having on here lately. This week we have a bunch of people. Thanks you guys for answering my tweet and for giving me the segments on Bring Out Your Dead. We're here for some catharsis, and we got a lot to go around. We're going to start. I want to start with Doc, traded for Bryce Miller, -36 in 2 starts. Doc, I just want to say something to you. We spent, it was so upsetting to David that we hijacked half of our show, that trade last week, or 2 weeks ago. And it was, and it was one of the funnest shows we had in a while. And so we piled on you. And if Bryce Miller stinks and Sandy stinks, there's not a chance that we're going to apologize for like hijacking half of a week of show, picking on you for that trade. So Doc, this is the whole catharsis you get.
You know what I want to put out on this trade too? Art lost in our home league because of a JD Martinez home run on Sunday Night Baseball. The second time he lost a matchup by a Dodger Sunday night home run.
That's brutal.
Sunday Night Baseball home run. So he alone won, because if he had Bryce Miller and not JD, he would have lost. So he won the trade, actually.
I hate you so much. It's really hard looking at your stupid face every week on this show. So that was Doc talking about Bryce Miller. Real sports talk coming in here with Manny Machado and Julio Rodriguez are killing me. I'm loaded, and they're my two worst players as of right now. I think the fundamentals of those two are going to come back around. J-Rod actually his batted ball quality is just a little bit worse than it was last season. So I think, just regression is going to help you, real sports talk. And if those are your two worst guys, you're probably sitting up there in the standings and feeling quite good. Enrique, who has the wonderful Twitter handle Mr. Sack4, talks about Manoah, Lynn, Ronzi, Jimenez, all on the same team. I feel you. That's why I went and searched Twitter for an answer for you. And Matt Williams, our old friend Matt Williams from NBC Sports Edge, or whatever it's called now, talks about it looks like Ronzi Contreras went and Manoah'd all over the place today. That was yesterday. Whoa, what a game. Marty also having trouble with Ronzi, one of his favorites coming into the season. He's had some good starts, but that was a brutal one.
He dropped me 13.5 places in the triple players ball.
Wow.
Not places, sorry. Categories. 13.5 categories. Still in first. Maybe second now, but 13.5. I was devastated.
Let's get a standings check on.
And Yahoo just put infinity. It put infinity in all of the categories for him. I had no idea, how bad is that? It's bad.
I'm feeling you. David? I think you guys were going to say something.
No, I was listening.
Yeah, we have just some dude whose Twitter handle is I am a rooster man. Makes me think of that Alice in Chains song. Who's coming with me on this one? Here they come to stuff the rooster. Oh yeah, come on. Yeah, nobody. This is what happens when you make a show with young kids. No one knows Alice in Chains anymore.
I know Alice in Chains.
We know that song.
Good. Oh yeah.
I listen to when me and my buddy at work when we hoop, we I guess always on when we're playing ball.
Yeah, you got that grunge music's not bad. Not bad. Workout music, not bad for sports. Not bad at all. Rooster Man talks about Gunner and Harris. Michael Harris, hopefully good sign, turning around, game-winning home run last night. So he had just coming off of a 4-for-31 slump. Fingers crossed on that it is starting to turn around for him. Really hurting his owners this season so far. It was only his third home run of the season. So hopefully, Rooster Man, that's your boy. He's coming around for you. Got some more people over here. John Mack talking about Ahmed Rosario. I'm feeling you. Ahmed, though, however, has some good batted ball quality. He has a good hard hit rate. All he has to do is start hitting the ball in the air. Come on, Ahmed, start bringing it around. Get some BABIP on your side. But I do like one Cleveland baseball fan who tweeted, I don't know if anyone on the planet loves hitting into a double play more than Ahmed Rosario. That was 1 hour ago. So, John Mack, hopefully that gives you some the Cleveland fans don't like him either. James B talking about Vlad Jr. Vlad Jr.'s his OPS pretty close to what it was last season. However, I understand what you're talking about. You're sitting there in 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th place, and you're looking at your roster and what is going to get you up. What's going to get you up is if Vlad Jr. goes on one of those months or 2 months where he's amazing, or one of those other guys starts turning it up. I got a few teams where I'm waiting for my studs to start acting like studs. So, James, good luck with Vlad on that. But all in all, he's hitting pretty close to last season. We also got Jesus's dad, Darius Rucker. That's the name on the Twitter. So Darius Rucker of Hootie and the Blowfish. Darius, I only want to be with you. And I feel sorry for you and Gunnar Henderson. And I recently couldn't stomach Eugenio Suarez anymore. What's up with Seattle? Seattle's offense is garbage. Gunnar also hit a home run today, thankfully, for all who celebrate Gunnar Henderson. Fun fact about his home run today, 29 out of 30 ballparks would have been a home run. The only ballpark not a home run, Baltimore. Thank goodness they were on the road today. Mm-hmm. So Tim at the Lewis, last but not least, talking about been good at cleaning out his roster. He's got to do it, got to churn and burn. But Tim Anderson, Jeff McNeil, and up until recently, Chris Bryant, been giving him the tremors. Tim Anderson, tough. That's a tough one, too. He's not really hitting. McNeil not hitting KB. I don't even know if he's playing. What is going on with KB? Tough road for those. But, Tim, hopefully you got that roster churned and you've been able to manage. We got these bodies up on the Boyd Bring Out Your Dead cart, and we're going to take them off to the pits.
All right. Definitely a lot of people heard. And the chat was going nuts during the Bring Out Your Dead. Buddy Z2 says Willie Adames feels dead to me. So he's add Willie Adames to that list. He had
a home run today or yesterday?
I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Shane Bieber could be on this list right now. He could be an Astro by the end of the year. I think he'll be an Oriole. He'll be somewhere. The Guardians are definitely trying to trade him. I think I remember hearing that he has the 4th lowest swinging strike rate of qualified starters this season. Doc, you're on mute, I think.
He didn't get a strikeout till like the 5th inning yesterday.
It's crazy for a guy that was one of the best strikeout pitchers in baseball just a few years ago. It's not like a velocity thing either. Boris says you're scaring scaring away the pretty single women. But he did say, "Bring out your dead, we'll bring them back." Oh man, I love Forrest in the chat. Forrest is hilarious, and always and Toby and Vinny's preaching to Alice in Chains drop.
Yes. Oh yeah.
All right, let's talk. I always forget who we want to go next here because you two just do such a good job. It's like which one? When do we want to start with first?
We can start with Marty.
Yeah, let's do Marty's pitching. 2-start pitchers next.
Yes, my favorite segment.
All right, 2-start pitchers coming up here for June 12th through the 18th. Today's going to be a little bit different. I'm gonna need some crowd participation, whether you guys in the chat and of course you guys here, my fellow TPF brothers. Mm-hmm. Starting with the no doubters as always. Spencer Strider had a tough day today. Look at those thighs. It doesn't matter. He's a no doubter, baby. Look at that. I mean, Spencer Strider at Detroit versus Colorado. Doesn't get much better than that. Zach Wheeler at Arizona, at Oakland. Those are the 2 no doubters.
Yeah, those are juicy.
For these next 2, so the should starts and the take a seats. As of right now, there is no risky business people in the category. So what we're going to do over these next 2, over the should starts and the take a seats, yell out, people in the chat, my team here, who do you think should be a risky business? And let's make a little. And Doc, you can't say Papa Lopez because that's a pop out answer. We can't. I won't allow it. But no, it was a different kind of week here. So here's my should start pitchers for next week: Merrill Kelly versus the Phillies versus the Guardians. Logan Webb at the Cardinals, at the Dodgers. Tyler Glasnow, welcome back, you beautiful, beautiful man. At Oakland, at San Diego. John Gray versus the Angels versus the Blue Jays. Charlie Morton at Detroit versus Colorado. Chris Bassett at Baltimore, at Texas. Joe Musgrove versus the Cleveland Guardians and then the Rays. Logan Gilbert versus Miami versus the White Sox. Jesus Luzardo at Seattle, at Washington. And then lastly, Pablo Lopez, 2 really good matchups here versus Milwaukee, versus Detroit. Who we moving over to risky business, y'all? Who's taking the leap over to hang out with Tom Cruise for the next week?
I think there's a glaring one here. I'm interested if you guys agree. LC and Doc, who stands out to you?
This is kind of a gut one for me, and it's Chris Bassett. Chris Bassett has kind of been a Jekyll and Hyde pitcher this year, and who knows what we're going to get first game off the paternity list. But 2 road matchups when he has a 4.43 road ERA as opposed to a 2.18 home ERA. Like, I get why you put him on the should start, but I think that's kind of a risky business.
At Texas is tough. Chris Bassett was one of the ones I was going back and forth with.
At Texas and at Baltimore too.
Yeah, Baltimore. They're good too.
So Forrest says he thinks Musgrove is the one he wouldn't trust here. And Toby says he's not trusting Merrill Kelly. He wants him to do bad one time so you can trade for him. That's fair.
I think John Gray, even though he's pitched really well lately, has tough matchups. The Angels in Toronto, at home. If it's open, that's a hitter's ballpark. That's a home run park. That's tough matchups. Those are tough. I feel you on Bassett at Texas. Musgrove with Tampa Bay also that's a tough matchup. But otherwise, yeah, I feel you, Marty. This is kind of tough. I would be comfortable with most of these.
And with Chris Bassett specifically here, because I'm looking, I was looking for people to put in the risky business, but he just came off with, I think, 8 strong innings versus the Astros. So that's kind of, I was like, we'll just.
Did you hear this story out of this?
No.
So he was at like 79 pitches through 8, and then he saw Jordan was up. And he's like, yeah, I'm okay getting pulled. I know he kills me.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, have you seen his numbers against me? Yeah, I'm cool with it. I did read about that. That's funny.
Yeah, and like I think the game before that, he like tried to pitch as fast as he could because his wife was in labor.
I mean, how can you not root for that guy?
Yeah.
I would love to hear DMendy's glaring weakness.
No, I'm going to take it back because I was going to say Logan Webb because I remember him in the beginning of the season. He was giving up a ton of runs, and then I actually remember seeing his last start. He didn't do well in Colorado, but then I was just looking at his most recent starts. He's actually been really good. But I just had, like I said, I had the
percentage is crazy.
I just had the most recent start just glaring in my head and thinking like he hadn't been as good recently. But
it's also muscle memory for you to just trash Logan Webb like you did prior to the season.
I didn't trash Logan Webb.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
DMendy hates gingers. That's what
it's just one of those players you never draft, but that doesn't mean you hate him.
You called him an SP4.
That's what he is, in my opinion.
Whoa!
In my opinion.
Anywho, all right. So let's hop over to the take a seats here, and I want to know who should be bumped up to a risky business. Starting with Dan Dunning versus the Angels versus the Blue Jays. Dean Kremer versus Toronto Blue Jays at the Chicago Cubs. Taijuan Walker at Arizona at Oakland. Aaron Savale at the Padres at the Diamondbacks. Garrett Whitlock versus Colorado versus the Yanks, 2 home starts. Tyler Anderson at Texas at KC. Roenzi Contreras, rest in peace, buddy, at the Cubs at Milwaukee. Matthew Liberatore, who I wasted money on in TGFBI, thanks for nothing, versus the Giants at the Mets. Zach Greinke versus Cincy versus the Angels. Reese Olson at Minnesota, and he has a second start, but I deleted it. What is it? Hold on one second here, folks. Art, make sure you cut this in post. Versus the Braves at Minnesota. So yeah, definitely take a seat.
You don't even like him enough to put his second matchup on there.
No, I missed his first one versus the Braves. I was trying to do him a favor. Hopefully he gets cut for that one, so it doesn't. Anyway, Zach Davies versus Philly versus Cleveland. Connor Siebold at Boston at the Braves. James Caprillion versus Tampa Bay versus the Philadelphia Phillies. Hogan Harris versus the Rays versus Philly. Luis Severino at the Mets at Boston. Jameson Tyone versus Pittsburgh versus Baltimore. Patrick Corbin, your boy Doc, at Houston versus Miami. Chase Anderson at the Red Sox at the Braves. And last but not least, my boy Lance Lynn at the Doyers at the Mariners. Those are my take a seats. Who we bumping up to maybe? Who do you feel comfortable that you could say to our listeners, you might want to play this guy?
I can't even say anyone on this list.
As Forrest says, bumpkin first teamers.
Taijuan Walker has juicy matchups, but you can't trust him.
Taijuan Walker was really good his last start too, though.
Yeah, but then the start before that, he walked like 4 in 3 innings.
He was the last guy I looked up before this. 507 FIP, 4.7 X FIP. His K percentage, 19.5, while his walk percentage is 10.7.
I like Severino a little bit.
Nah, that velo is down.
Mm-hmm.
Other
It's
than
dropping like it's hot.
how far down? I know the Dodgers lit him up. I didn't think that was too alarming.
White Sox got to him for 6 today.
Why do you got Aaron Savale on this list?
You're just saying that because you love him.
You tell me, why should he be a risky business?
Marty, did you see his ERA on the season? And I think he had a really good start today, if I'm not mistaken, too. I think he
Make the case, brother.
Okay.
This is your time to shine.
You know what? This is going to be a double thing here, because not only am I making a case because he's pitching well, but because he's a friend of the podcast, and he still watches my Instagram stories when I post them. So
unfortunately, that wasn't posted on Baseball Savant. If I would have known, he would have got, he would have been definitely.
You guys still talk about chicken recipes?
No, he's too busy during the season to cook. So no, but
he's too busy to cook right now, but he'll do it later.
He does still watch my Instagram stories, and when I said go win the Cy Young this season, he liked my message. So let's see. So on the season, he has a 2.34 ERA.
What's his expected ERA, or
Well, I'm trying to see how many games he's played, because I know he missed some time. He had 23.1 innings, I think, going into this start. So he's pitched about 30 innings so far this season. Obviously, it's a small sample size, but you look at that, they just cut Zach Plesac. They also, obviously, Shane Bieber's on the trading block. I think he's going to get a chance to continually pitch into games is the way he's going. He's always been a guy that is mixing up his arsenal, is always looking to get better.
And on that note, does that scare you that his strikeout percentage is a career low 17.1, while the average starting pitcher strikeout percentage is 22.1 right now? His is 17.1.
I looked up his expected ERA is 4.42.
Yeah.
I mean,
first at the Padres, who we just talked about, are kind of coming back. At Arizona, who's been a good offense. Oh, it's hard to say. Fire him up. Maybe a 15 team if you're feeling, you're feeling yourself.
But Savale's career K rate is 22%. It's not like it was like upper 20s. And it
went from average to bad.
Yeah, but again, it's still got a 5.7% walk rate. Expected ERA 4.43, but he doesn't give up. Doesn't give up that many hard hit balls. 88, right around average and exit velocity, right around average max EV. Batting average, expected batting average against 282. Expected slug 431. Again, a little bit higher than average, but Aaron Savale is not a 2.31 ERA pitcher. Aaron Savale is like a mid threes ERA pitcher. So there is room for some regression here and him to still be a serviceable player for your team. I don't think he's a take a seat player.
Number 7, WRC plus Arizona. So they're a top 10 offense. And I would say San Diego, although their overall team numbers right now don't reflect that, in the last couple weeks, they've really fired it up. Hey, I want to see you, David. I want to see. Do you have him in the league? If so, you need the stardom.
I don't, but I should.
Sent to our boy. Put it in the Discord. I need to see it.
I'm trying to look up. When you look up WRC pluses, do you do on the season or over the last few weeks?
Fangraphs last 2 weeks.
Okay, so you're doing recent data. Okay, that's what I would have done too. So they're number 7 over the last 2 weeks against right-handed pitching.
Diamondbacks.
Okay. Well, we will see. Again, I got trust in my. I'm not saying he's going to do well in both starts.
I want to see I need you to DM him and say, hey, bro,
I got you. I'm going to do it right now on the show,
man.
I'm going to do it right now on the show just for you. I'm going to show the message on screen.
It would be great if he responded while we're still alive.
That'd be amazing.
There's no way he's up right now, or there's no way he's
What do you mean? There's no way? He just pitched. He's probably decompressing by looking at his phone now.
Yeah, he's in the ice, in an ice bath, just thinking about you.
Let me shout out his brother Nick Savale, who's also
Nick.
Nick Savale is the boy.
While
The
David
boy?
does that, we'll go-
Oh wait, what should I say to him? I'll be like, hey bro, great.
I'm no good at thirst tweets. I don't know.
Hey bro,
Hey, bro.
Hey, bro.
you crushing it. I said,
Just talked about you on the show.
Did you check us?
what's cooking good looking?
Before you say he crushed it, he's like, I gave up 8. Oh yeah, I know, but last time you did great.
I'm
You
gonna
did
say,
okay today.
hey bro, talking about your performance the last few games on the podcast. Keep crushing it. I think you're gonna have an awesome week against Arizona and San Diego in your next.
I love that.
This is why David has friends and I don't.
Right? Yeah, he really goes off out on a limb there.
He goes and he reaches out and he sends words of support. I just wait for people to screw up, and I send crap talking tweets. That's
the beautiful thing about 2-star pitchers. It starts off with that to now we're personally DMing him to give him congratulations on a good day and forever. But yeah, those are the
You know what's funny is
pitchers.
what if he responds during the show? I'll
Then
let
we
you guys
have
know
to-
if he
yes.
does. I'll bet you I will.
I'll put him in the risky business if he responds before the show.
I'm gonna bet money that he sees it and doesn't answer. Which, to be honest, I don't know. I don't know if I would.
you're
either.
gonna DM him,
And
dude,
then
you're
David
totally
agrees
risky
with
business.
Marty after he gets put on red.
Nah, Aaron Savali always has my heart, man. Even if he just puts me on a red, I'll still shout him out for the risky business.
I didn't know he was part of the TPF family. I had no idea. I would have never.
Their game just ended. I just saw Toby put in the chat that their game just ended. Was it 20 minutes ago?
I swear
Here we
David
go.
hasn't paid attention to half the things that we've said.
I mean, probably not. I'm looking at too many stuff.
But yeah, 2-star pitchers.
We're getting
Thanks,
off topic. It's something that doesn't even matter right now.
All right, well, with that, let's go to the doctor's office as I'm the professional that is going to transition. And look, I'm not going to hide. Last couple weeks, the results have been shaky. Last week, a 1-2 record, 4.74 ERA, 1.31 WHIP, 14 Ks in 19 innings. You know, it's just tough. It's a tough landscape for pitching, especially when it's less than 50% owned in ESPN leagues. But we're going to correct it this week. I'm feeling good. Andrew Abbott owned in 14.2% of ESPN leagues in his debut, as we talked about, 6 innings pitched, 1 hit, which was in the 5th inning, 0 earned, 4 walks, and 6 Ks. 3 of those walks came in the 1st inning, so probably had a little bit of nerves. Now, when you look at his K minus walk percentage in 2023, in AA it was 58.9%, and in AAA 25.8%. So love those strikeout numbers. And the Cardinals have scored 5 or less runs in 13 games. They have been dropping like it's hot, except they're not. So I feel confident with Mr. Abbott. Next, Yusei Kikuchi, owned in 19.9% of ESPN leagues. He has a 2.37 BA against him and a 3.00 ERA at home. Fun fact, Vlad Jr. does not have a home run yet at Rogers Center this year. So it's kind of turned into a pitcher's ballpark. And when you look at Yusei Kikuchi, he has 12 starts on the year, and 4 of them have been really where he's struggled. 66% of his earned runs have come in 33% of his games, and they were tough matchups. 3 on the road, at Boston, at the Angels, second start of the season, at Tampa Bay, and then versus Atlanta at home. And he gets to face a Twins team that, as of recording this, have lost 5 in a row and still lead the major leagues in strikeouts. And Kikuchi just came off an 8 strikeout game against the Mets. Last one, Griffin Canning, owned in 4.3% of ESPN leagues. His last 3 games been pretty impressive. 19 innings, 4 earned, 18-4 K to walk. He's throwing the slider more this year, throwing the changeup more, less reliant on the fastball, not having the velocity that he once did. And the theme here is picking on teams that have just been struggling. The Mariners have scored 22 runs over their last 8 games, so not even averaging 3 runs a game. So those are my pitching streamers for this weekend.
Take a look at Forrest in the chat. I think that fits you pretty well.
The booby doctor from Good Luck Chuck and Ortiz. Fun fact is the news.
It's funny. I don't like ever starting Griffin Canning, even in potentially the right matchups, Doc.
I've streamed him twice this year, and he's been good for me. He is risky, though. He is somebody I would never own for a long period of time, but I have no problem streaming if I feel like it's a good matchup or if you need to get 10 in.
The Toby says Joe Adele hype just hit a bomb. Is he still in is he in AAA right now, or did they call him back up?
He just homered tonight with the Angels.
Oh, so we'll see how long that lasts. But I guess the hype he'll be talked about on a lot of pods. Maybe he'll be on the show next week in the rundown. I didn't realize he just got called up. Forrest does agree with you, Doc. He likes the Canning over. And Savali, should be in the risky business section. Marty, do you want to go ahead and talk to us about Marty's party?
Only if you DM Aaron Zavala, say, "Hey, dude, I think you're doing really well. I think you're risky business next week." I think he would really enjoy that.
Well, I already DM'd him once. So
we can give him a double shot. All right, Marty's party. Again, guys, I'm going to need your help. I'm jammed up. I don't know who to invite. I have 3 guys. They're all good dudes. Some of them are new. Some of them, I've thought about inviting before. I need some help. So can you guys help me here? Starting with Luke Raley versus the Rangers here. Yo, this dude's been sneaky good. Tampa Bay, best offense in baseball. Luke has a first base and outfield eligible, only 28% rostered in Yahoo leagues. Over his 160 plate appearances, he has 11 home runs, 7 stolen bases, 28 runs, and 25 RBI, slashing 257, 348. Yes, a 348 OBP and a 934 slug. 3 games at home versus Texas. And if we just hop over to you guys are bored, our listeners, go take a look at his Baseball Savant page. He's barreling the ball at an insane rate. It's brick red all across, max exit velocity, you name it. He's crushing the ball when he gets out there. But 3 games at home versus Texas. He's playing almost nearly every day. Number 2, the ghost of Jake Bauers. Do you guys remember Jake Bauers? Maybe 3-4 years ago on the Guardians?
Oh, yeah.
Tom remembers.
I thought he was going to be good, man. I remember drafting him in my infamous 10-team league, and he was a quick drop in 2018 or 19, whenever that was. But he's back on the Yanks. Jake Bauers, outfielder, only 2% rostered. Doc, he can't hit lefties. He can't hit lefties. He's one of those guys like the other. Who was it? Jake Fraley I yelled at, who can't hit lefties. Bauers cannot hit lefties. But luckily, all 3 games this weekend are at home versus the Red Sox, and he's playing only righties. So he's got 3 righties on there, and 70 plate appearances versus righties. He has 5 home runs, 11 RBIs, and 10 walks. He's slashing 241, 343, 895, 90th percentile max exit velocity. So when he does get a hold of the ball, he hits it pretty far there. Jake Bauers, I don't hate him here against the Red Sox. And then lastly, Jesus Sanchez, Miami outfielder, 7% rostered. Since returning from the IL, he's 10 for his last 29 with 3 home runs, a 404 OBP, a 655 slug, 3 games at the Chicago White Sox versus that brutal pitching staff. Brutal like in a bad way. They suck. Luke, Jake, or Jesus? Doc, who would you invite? I need some help here.
Yeah, this is tough. Nothing jumped out at me right away. I don't think Jake Bauers, it sounds like he's hurt you in the past. That also is very similar to Jake Berger, and you already invited Jake Berger to the party.
Did you see when Jake Berger was playing Michael King and it said Burger King on the...
I did. I feel like it's Jesus Sanchez. I feel like he's on a hot stretch. Marty wants to take advantage of that. It's like when somebody has a run of popularity and you want to latch on, and he's playing at the White Sox. So it's like, hey, let's latch on to your popularity and take down somebody I don't like.
I did try to get him in Fab last week. I didn't. He went for like $56. I threw a cool 16 on it. Wasn't even close. DMendy, who do you think?
I actually really like a lot of the ones in your party this week. Like I saw Jake Bauers is hitting 5 for the Yankees, at least in the first game of their doubleheader he was, and he had 2 hits in that game. Luke Raley's been absolutely crushing it for the he's on the Rays, right?
Yeah, Tampa Bay.
Yep. Yeah. For some reason, I just had a brain fart. And Jesus Sanchez for the Marlins has also been playing like all three guys have been really hitting well. I think I'd go Luke Raley, but it's not by much. I think all three guys for the first time are well deserving to be in the party. It's like you have
Hey,
three,
Marty, you suck at this.
It's like you have three 10s that are trying to come into your actual party, like three girls that are 10s line up. And you're like, man, like all of you are beautiful. And I can only have one of you in. It's like, I don't know who you would pick. I guess if do you like blondes, Marty? Do you like redheads, brunettes? Like that's me, that's what it comes down to.
I'm a brunette kind of guy from here on out. LC, Art. What do we think, man?
Jake Bauers can sit on something and rotate for all the pain it's caused me in my life. I actually
Art
saw him.
DM'd him on Instagram, but it wasn't very nice.
I actually saw him starting to play, and I'm like, oh God, do I have to consider Jake Bauers? He was with Tampa Bay before the Guardians.
It's true. He was. You're
I
right.
can't remember who Tampa Bay, because the Guardians traded.
Yeah, they hoodwinked somebody. Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Yeah. The Guardians traded for him. I can't remember who they traded for. No, I can't remember who they traded for him. But yeah, the reason we wanted him on the Guardians was because he had been decent for Tampa Bay before that. I was all about him on the Guardians. He was terrible the whole time. Jesus Sanchez, love coming at the end of last season. Craig Mish comes on Fantasy Baseball Beat, talk about Sanchez coming in out of shape in 2022. 2023 looks ready to go. But for my money, I like Luke Raley. That boy just hits right-handers, and he is awesome, and I feel like he'd be fun at a party.
It's interesting in the chat, too. Right now, Toby said he would take Raley all day, and then Forrest is kind of mixed between Sanchez and Raley, but he says Sanchez slightly because he should play more.
I mean, I'm really at a standstill. You know what, David? I'm going to go with you. If 3 10s show up to your party, you don't pick one of them. You let them all in. They're all coming this week. Welcome to the party, guys. It's going to be a rager, bro. It's going to be a curve.
That's a curve.
You can't turn down 3 10s. Toby's asking to also invite Ryan Nada if he gets a chance.
Ooh, getting at Ryan Nada at Milwaukee this weekend. I don't hate it.
Can I break some news that's probably not surprising?
What?
Eloy Jimenez left the game tonight.
Son of a...
Jesus. What does it say? Let me guess, hamstring?
Running out a ground ball and nothing in the night just pointed to his leg.
Yes.
Of course.
Eloy Jimenez.
The man can't run to first base without getting injured.
Bro, Eloy Jimenez is a vibe. He
is the new Giancarlo Stanton.
Dude, he is such a bad vibe. Like, he's the opposite of going golfing.
In general, man. Just that whole team. That's rough.
My understanding of the young term vibe is limited, but I agree with you, man. He's a bad vibe.
He is. Like, you get the good vibes when you go golfing. You get the bad vibes when you draft Eloy Jimenez.
You know what? I took him in a home league, and I'll never do it again.
All right, 1 year, just for fun, you should draft Jacob deGrom, Eloy Jimenez, Byron Buxton.
Why would that be fun?
Giancarlo Stanton. Byron Buxton on the IL again.
Just your whole team, those players. And then
Kenley Jansen as your closer.
Who?
Kenley Jansen.
Oh, Kenley Jansen. He doesn't get hurt that much.
Kenley Jansen has a heart issue like every other season.
I feel like he hasn't had that since it's been a few years. We should put together the list of the all injured team. Oh, Nick Senzel would be on that list.
Nick Senzel. Travis d'Arnaud to catcher.
I feel like he always has concussions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're laughing, but obviously they're serious.
Yeah. No, not the injury part, more just how annoying.
Not Jansen's heart condition. Who cares about that guy?
But
I think Kenley Jansen has had open heart surgery twice in his career.
Does Yoan Moncada get the third base job?
He hit a home run today, but I think he went 1 for 10. So.
But I think he had been hurt most of the year, right?
Yeah, he's been hurt. Yeah, he's been hurt most of the year. He'll be the third baseman if he's healthy, but who knows?
That's the key when he's healthy.
Yeah, who knows?
Well, Jake Berger, this does give Jake Berger a little bit more runway because he had starting to see a little bit of a downturn in his plate appearances because of Eloy's return. So Jake Berger is back on the menu. Hey, look at that.
Yes. Yes.
All right, Elsie, do you want to take us on home here with looking at matchups for next week?
Yeah, I got some matchups for next week, and I'm recommending some pickups, some pitchers who have one start next week that I think might be decent streamers that are widely available, as well as some hitters who all will play 7 games next week, and I feel like have some good hitting matchups as well. So we will start with the pitching streamers because I want to. Pitching streamers for next week. So I put some target teams up there. So the teams, like Marty did, I went in the last 2 weeks, WRC plus. The Cubs, worst in baseball over the last 2 weeks, 56 WRC plus. St. Louis, next worst. Baltimore, next worst. Detroit, Milwaukee, Seattle, the Yankees, the Royals, and the White Sox. Those are your worst. All of those have under 90 WRC plus over the last 2 weeks. I hesitate to target the Yankees anytime just because of the firepower with Judge and Rizzo and the fact that they can just go for and Torres and then go for power. But for next week, I do like 4 pitchers that are available in at least 80% of Yahoo and ESPN leagues. It's amazing the ownership rates in these leagues. I can't believe it. But the first person playing the Chicago Cubs, Luis Ortiz, had a tough start his last time out. Gave up 10 hits against Oakland. So that's a little bit. He got Babbitt to death on that one, but he had seen 2 consecutive good starts against Texas and Seattle, as well as a rain shortened start against St. Louis where he started looking good. But Luis Ortiz has looked pretty decent in his last couple starts. I wouldn't let that Oakland start really discourage you that much. He has the Cubs coming up next. I think that's a pretty decent start. Cole Irvin coming back to Baltimore. Doc, get your party hat out. I know you're a Cole Irvin fan. Making his first start this weekend. Watch what he does on Saturday. Right now, I'm saying watch what he does on Saturday because next week he has the Cubs. He's lined up to start the game against the Cubs. Cubs have been the worst hitting team in baseball over the last 2 weeks. Cole Irvin, widely available. He's the definition of a streamer, and the Cubs are the definition of the type of team you want to stream against. So if Cole Irvin looks sharp, and he's looked sharp in AAA over 6 starts, nearly a 5-to-1 K to walk ratio. So I really like that start for him. Carlos Carrasco has looked good in 2 of his last 3 starts. The only start he didn't look great in was giving up 4 earned runs against Atlanta. No shame in that. He has St. Louis, which has been the 2nd worst hitting team in baseball of last week. So I am running him out there for that, and I think you should pick him up. Griffin Canning, Doc, I second that emotion. His next start after the one you recommend is at Kansas City, which is also among the worst hitting teams in baseball. So get him for Doc's start this weekend. Hold him for his start at Kansas City next week. That's what I recommend. I have liked Canning all season, and I'm with Doc. I think this is the start of something good with him. He has his K to walk has been great. He's gone 6 and 7 innings in his last 3 starts, so that's always good to watch. Canning, someone who I really believe in this year, and so I think pick him up. He's widely available, especially in your ESPN and Yahoo leagues, and you can hold him for the next 2 starts. Some hitting streamers, I broke it up. Over all these people have 7 games next week so that you can pick them up and hold them for the whole week. I have Luke Raley on there, Marty. Pick him up for the weekend. Keep Luke Raley for next week. A lot of righties Tampa Bay is facing next week. Pavin Smith also facing a lot of righties. Arizona. One person I want to shout out right now, someone who may be coming back next week, may not be ready for the first series of next week, but Darick Hall should definitely be on your mind when you're putting in your fab bids this weekend. Philadelphia has a spot for him at first base. He could step right back in. He's been rehabbing for the I can't remember the name of their AAA team. It's like the Lehigh Snout Pigs or something like that. I can't. Someone write it in the chat. If Vinny is still in the chat, he knows what the Phillies AAA team is. It's the Lehigh something Steam Pigs or something like that. I can't remember.
It is the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs.
Iron Pigs. There it is.
Pigs.
He's been hitting well, Darick Hall, for the Iron Pigs. We all know he has power. We all know Philly needs him in the lineup. Going to be a first baseman for them. Maybe back for next week. Middle infielders, if you need them, widely available in Yahoo and ESPN. Geraldo Perdomo and Zach McKinstry. I really like what they've been doing this year. 7 games next week. They're people who I would be streaming next week. Outfielders Ozuna and Akil Baddoo have some nice hitting matchups next week. Ozuna over Eddie Rosario because Rosario does seem to sit against lefties sometimes, whereas Ozuna is getting pretty regular DH at bats. And if you need a catcher, I got 3 names for you. Number 1, you should be looking at Gary Sanchez. Pick him up. He is very hot as he's starting in San Diego. I think he has like 3 or 4 home runs already. Matt Tice has some nice looking numbers on the season, hitting about 270. And Christian Bethancourt, which is surprising to me. He's you can't get him in a 12-team league on NFBC, but a 12-team with a Yahoo league and ESPN league, Bethancourt is widely available. He's hitting too well. He's basically the starting. Mejia only gets backup games. Bethancourt's the full-time catcher for the Rays. If you are in a 12-team league, he is well worth the ad. So the hitting streamers I have broken down by position: Raley, Pavin, Smith, and Darick Hall. For your corner infielders, those are all first basemen. Middle infielders, Perdomo and McKinstry. Outfielders, I have Ozuna and Baddoo. Excuse me. Catchers, I have 3. Tice, Sanchez, and Bethancourt, all widely available in your Yahoo and ESPN leagues.
All right. Great work there, LC. That's going to wrap us up here for this week.
Before we wrap up the show, I did a little bit of research, and we missed a lot of names on the all-injured drafting team.
Okay. I will say before you do that, the names that were brought up in the chat after were Starling Marte from Toby and Austin Meadows from Forrest.
Ooh, yeah, Austin Meadows, yeah.
We missed the rotation of the entire Tampa Bay Rays, and highlighted by Mr. Tyler Glass now. Carlos Rodon, Chris Sale is going to be the anchor of the team. We have an outfield of Tyler O'Neill, Michael Brantley, and Chris Bryant. We have Rendon at starting third base.
Yeah,
yes.
That is for
and
sure.
Tim Anderson.
Tim Anderson, yes.
That's
yes.
good.
Absolutely.
I want one of our listeners to literally draft this team next year.
I'll say who's.
Let's do a best ball for this.
Do you have a second base and a first base? I'm intrigued now. I need the full team here, man.
It's tough to find the second baseman that get injured. I
definitely think Rendon, Tim Anderson. Buxton needs to be in the outfield.
Buxton needs to be in the outfield.
Yeah.
Tyler
Buxton or
O'Neill
Brantley.
also.
Take Brantley. He's barely a professional baseball player now.
Jazz Chisholm's your second baseman.
That's his second base.
Second base.
All right, first base. Let's just get it real quick.
Eloy.
Eloy's outfield, bro.
Plays DH.
Reese Hoskins. I don't know if he gets injured.
He had one. Carlos Santana.
Is there first baseman hardly missed a lot of time?
Crone.
Yeah, CJ's not bad.
Crone
there's going to be a name that someone gives us that we're going to be like, how did we miss that?
Crone has back issues. And
what about Jared Walsh?
Nah, he's not big enough.
Yeah, there's someone in their car right now screaming.
Anthony Rizzo with his back issues.
Anthony Rizzo's not bad. Not bad.
No, here's a better one than Rizzo.
Yeah.
Did we pick a catcher yet or no?
I think D'Arnaud's the one to go.
Okay,
that's fine. First
yeah,
base.
All injured team right there.
Listeners, let us know.
Yeah.
Then we have the whole team covered here. But that's going to wrap us up. If you guys are enjoying the content, please make sure you guys check out the live streams every Thursday night. We are now streaming Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to hop in the live show. If you guys are watching after, please make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're at 3.2K on YouTube.
Leave a comment. Click the thumbs up. Let's get this thing cooking. That stuff really matters.
Help the old algorithm. We definitely always appreciate that. If you guys are on the podcast version, 5-star ratings and reviews for our show, the Fantasy Baseball Beat, and the Call Up are always appreciated, all under the Triple Play Fantasy Baseball Podcast Network. And then, yeah, if you want to make sure you shout out the boys on Twitter, the handles are on the screen. And I said them at the beginning of the show if you guys want to check them out there. But for LC, for Marty Party, for Doc, I'm DMendy. We're going to make like a bread truck and we're going to haul these buns. Catch you guys next